I got this from your samples, right? So when you put things together side by side, you start to have like clear ideas in terms of which one might stand out better than the others. The problem with this one, the problem with that one, okay, the difference between these two, of course, obviously, that's the picture, right? So do you think including picture is a good idea or not? It's a good idea. It's a really good idea. But you want to shy away from the types of pictures that show all the cuteness and zero in terms of professionalism. So be very careful in terms of your headshots. So I personally would suggest that you take pictures for each other, take a lot of them, different locations, different look, and then 如果有认识摄影社的学长，当然就更好了，对吧？或者学姐，对不对？ Otherwise, just spend a little bit time or and budget, go out and get a professional headshot. With a couple of professional headshots, it will last you for 10 years. Use the same one over and over and over and over for 10 years, no problem. Because you won't change a lot. 你要10年之内就改很多，你也是生活够悲哀的，对吧？好 ，So usually a couple of those headshots can last you for 10 years. So I personally think it's pretty worth investing. CP 值挺高的嘛，是吗？10年用10年呢，然后去外面拍一组大概1200。 一组大概2张，就差不多1200，然后起码，可是你不要随便找那个路边的那个，那不行啊。路边的那个，那你稍微 Google 一下，看看有人拍那个专业的那个 headshot， 觉得拍的还不错的，然后你再去跟他接洽，这样子，不要随便1200丢到水里面。So picture is a good idea, okay? And also different arrangement, right? Different arrangement, basic information, brief self-intro. Now, here you need to stay flexible, okay? You can keep most of the phrasing, but you need to kind of swap around to state your objective. You know, you will change the objective based on positions you're applying for, right? And then people will have different, they start to have different sections, right? But overall, this, if you look at it by itself, it's okay. But when you compare things side by side, you start to realize some are more enjoyable in terms of reading than the others. 更不要讲这个字比较大。Bigger fonts are very important for people with certain age. You have no idea. So, especially right now, you don't have that many experiences. You don't really have that much to write. So might as well use very decent font. This probably can say for someone else, okay? The color combinations, 这也是你们那个选的嘛，对不对？ This combination is not. Hold on, I have to say this very carefully. You got a picture, got a cute picture, and also very nice in terms of a little design. 这个感觉有点设计感 I like that. People pay a lot of attention to aesthetic nowadays, okay? 尤其我们是人文的，我们都是人文的吧？我们是人文的。We pay a lot of attention to aesthetics. 美感现在在我们人文里面是非常重视的部分 ，regardless of positions, okay? So I like this the little sense of aesthetic, the little design, you know, coming through from his resume. But I have problems with regard of the color combinations. This color, the dark background makes it really hard to read. If it's like a paper-based one, it's a mission impossible. But if it's an online one, it's really depends. 现在不是那个 Google 可以有黑色底吗？那你们有选吗？我没有，我觉得好难读。So basically, it really depends. So what if you got bad luck and the person who reads your resume doesn't really like this kind of combination? Then it could be a very pitiful result, right? So, and there's also like a little decision for you to make. Sometimes it's not really a decision, but do you go over one page? You heard of one page rule, right? Do you think it's okay to go over one page? It's a yes/no question. Is it okay to go over one page? No. Why not? The others, I mean, you're not.
Yes.
Yes.
Because sometimes you have too much information. However,
Right.
you still need bigger
Space.
space.
Right? But in this case, I don't like it. Why? Because you have teeny tiny on your second page. Since you're running 2 pages already, hello, you might as well include a little more. Okay? So I think it's a matter of rearrangement in terms of how you use the space. And also, since you're doing a little art design, you might as well design a little bit more so the second page can look a little bit better, and then 2 pages can be a little bit balanced. One thing that I didn't see from the samples you guys submitted is the person who can recommend you, recommenders. Okay? I think it's super important. Okay? 这时候脑袋要闪过一堆名单吗？会不会闪过一些名单？哦，文学老师不行，我上文学不太认真，可能不要找他比较好。哦，那个通识老师，我的一直翘课，也许不要找他比较好。So in other words, you kind of have to really think ahead and then really build some connections before you graduate. Otherwise, once you leave the school, you remember the saying is called out of sight, out of mind. Like, I don't really remember much of you. I don't want to recommend you. A lot of times there will be this kind of circumstances, okay? So, I agree that sometimes it's okay to go over one page. But I also think that if you're already going over one page, you might as well make the best of use of both pages. Okay, that's what I think. Of course, you need to have it under the condition, under the prerequisite, under the situation that you do have a lot to write. Then, in that case, you write 2 pages. But based on my experience so far, the social freshmen who just fresh from college very rarely have the need to go over one page. Let me explain why. Because a lot of times, it's just a matter of whether you can keep your descriptions concise enough or not. Sometimes it's too wordy, sometimes it's redundant, sometimes a lot of sometimes, okay? But just try to kind of strike a balance between conciseness and explicitness, okay? So with this 2 balance, we're hoping that the way you present yourself is something that's really good. Think about this, like if there are like 50 people who are applying for the same job, and this HR has to spend like, this our personnel will have to spend like half an hour going over the 50. Really, by the end of the 10th applications, she goes numb. He or she goes numb. 开始看到第10份完了以后，开始麻痹，这个是我们的感觉。所以这又 depends on luck。所以你的不小心放在前面那10个的时候，人家还认真看，有没有？后面的时候可能就有时候就真的是累了，或者是麻痹了，因为开始越来越像 ，start to look at each other。